Lethal VR review for the PlayStation VR.
Let's begin!
First up, let's take a look at the gameplay. This is a very simple shooting gallery game. You'll be using a few different weapons. The first is a pistol. This is the best one to shoot, as it controls exactly how you would expect. The second is a knife. Quite often the knife doesn't exactly go where you want it to. You have to be looking at the exact spot where you want it to land, and then throw it using the move controller. It's not a problem in the beginning stages, but in later stages when targets are moving fast and you are on a time limit, the control scheme becomes a problem. There is also a stage with a machete, and it controls the same as the knife. Most of the stages that include a blade are more frustrating than fun, especially when you have to be very accurate. You also get an SMG. It's a nice change from the pistol and comes with the challenge of getting used to the bullet spread. There is also some James Bond inspired weapons. There's a golden gun that fires one bullet at a time before having to reload, and strangely, in one stage you get Oddjob's hat. They only make a very brief appearance and the wow factor is over very quickly. Unfortunately, Oddjob's hat controls like the knife once again, so the brief appearance is welcome with that weapon. The game comes with different stages of difficulty that gradually unlock. Shooting all the targets in a stage unlocks the next one. When you replay some stages, segments of targets appear in a different order. It's not really enough to make each target range a must replay though, unless you are trying to get a high score in one of the leaderboards. If you're a competitive gamer, you'll be happy to know that the game includes online leaderboards, friend leaderboards, and local leaderboards. Some stages try to mix things up. In some you must shoot certain targets whilst avoiding others, and in some other stages you have two weapons. Each weapon must be used on the correct target, otherwise it results in a game over. The objective for each stage is displayed on a screen in front of you before entering the firing range, so you always know what you must do. Now let's take a look at how immersive these shooting galleries are. The weapons are very nicely detailed and it does always feel like you're really holding them. The physics on the knife is quite good, as it can bounce off of targets if your aiming wasn't the best. The distraction physics are also done quite well, and when the bullets make an impact they show off some nice spark effects. The location itself is very bland, and the only decent impressive moments are when a new shooting gallery wall moves all around you. The depth on the walls does get quite good, as they move out of a blurry background. When you fire the pistol it does feel and sound quite powerful. But the SMG really is lacking. There is no music in the game, and it does make the place feel empty and a bit dull. The only thing that comes close to some sort of music being heard is the James Bond-like sting when you fail a stage. Now let's take a look at the setup and what controllers the game supports. I played this game in a standing position just over 2 meters away from the camera. This really is a standing game, as some of the targets appear very far to the side of you. You really do need a lot of arm space, especially when throwing knives. The head tracking was great and the game did not make me motion sick. Although the majority of the game is played using one move controller, you really do need two, as some stages have you holding two weapons. It's a bit of an odd setup. I found it to be a bit annoying having to constantly keep picking up my other move controller for a two-weapon stage. It really did break the immersion for me, as I had to remember where I had placed my second move controller in the real world. When the targets are placed to the side of you and you have to throw the knife, the camera has trouble seeing the move controller behind you, resulting in the knife controls becoming even more annoying. If you are left-handed, you'll be happy to know that there is an option you can turn on in the options menu. Now let's take a look at how long the game is and what trophies come with it. The game took me just under an hour to beat, but I did get stuck on the last stage of the game for around 15 minutes. The last stage is very unfair, as you have to be very precise with your aiming and the bullet spread is quite high. The game's trophies are quite bad for a shooting gallery game. In total there are 14 trophies that can be achieved. There is 11 bronze, 2 silver and 1 gold. After playing through all the stages once, I only had 1 trophy left to achieve, which I could easily get in only a couple of minutes. Most of the trophies are rewarded for just getting any score on a stage. And now it's time for the verdict. This really is just your basic shooting gallery game. Shooting for pistols is fun for a while, but the uninspired stages do make the game a bit boring, and the knife stages that keep making an appearance make the game more frustrating than anything else. The game often appears in sales for a very cheap price, so it may be worth a look if you have an hour to kill, but I doubt you'll be coming back to it again unless you really are the competitive type who likes to get a high score. There is certainly a lot better shooting galleries out there on the PSVR. I really did find this shooting gallery game quite underwhelming, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this review helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe for more PlayStation VR content.